BTB is back, and let's just say it was a long time coming for yours truly, Nathaniel Cunningham. Now, everyone sits here and jokes about how the Adam Hipsky regime was nearly $170 in the red. And if you really want good betting advice, then the student-run betting show is probably not the place. But let's not forget that a semester ago, I was second on the leaderboard in total earnings. Yes, I was still in the red by $2, and some people will say by an inch or by a mile. But by BTB standards, I made money. And speaking of making money, did last week's Max Gifford make some money? Oh my goodness, the bow tie, it looked bodacious. The picks were preposterous. $22 in the red, Max. What are we doing over there? The lock, the coin flip, you know it's heads. 57% of the money went on tails. You gotta fade the public. And let's be honest, I know you put $13 on the Gatorade color, but they showed it halfway through the fourth quarter. I'm chalking that up as a half-hearted win. I don't even know why they paid that out, even though they showed it on the broadcast. But he's still in the red nonetheless, and that means BTB is back in the red overall. Griffin Marcy did such a big job, or such a great job, to put BTB into the green, and now Max and Arnoff have just taken them and put them back in the red. Luckily for me, I'm going to bring us back into that green area, or at least push us a lot closer. So it's finally time to beat the bookie.
Hey, Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money! Show me the money!
With college basketball coming to a close soon, it's officially time for college lacrosse season. Number 3, Princeton was ever so close to making it back to championship weekend for the second time in 4 seasons a year ago. So with the exit of Tewaaraton finalist Coulter Mackesy, the Tigers were destined to take a step back. Except for the fact that Mackesy was literally the only player they lost. This team is essentially the same as last year, which means they're going to get better. Add on the fact that they're playing a Penn State team that is coming off an unranked loss to Villanova in overtime. I think this is an easy dub for Princeton. However, the Tigers have historically started slow early in the season and haven't played a game yet. So despite the brutal loss, Penn State is no slouch. So give me $10 on the Nittany Lions to cover a 4-point spread. Down in the Commonwealth, it's an in-state clash between number 13 Virginia and number 8 Richmond. Now, excuse me for a second if you don't mind, but I like UVA and the style of lacrosse that Lars Tiffany brings, but for the bookie to have UVA as a -120 favorite on the road against a team that has dominated college lacrosse since joining back in 2014, won A10 conference title after A10 conference title, and was 1 goal shy of sending the best team in the country, the eventual national champions Cornell, home a year ago, is underdogs? Yeah, I'm gonna hone my inner Coach Carter for this one. Rich what? Rich Mitt. Rich what? Rich Mitt. Rich what? Rich Mitt. Give me the Spiders straight up over the Cavaliers. Luckily, a little bit north, we have another team that was ever so close to making it to championship weekend, Georgetown. While it may be 12 o'clock in Syracuse and Georgetown still sucks, they're also one of the teams that has the most to prove. With the exception from the Hoyas being a national championship contender, they are looking to make as many early season statements as possible. So with a Penn squad that will put a couple up but not dominate, I see this one going heavily in favor of the Hoyas and going well over 21.5. But let's see what the C-suite has to think on our games of the week. When you look overall, they just essentially disagree with me, except for that Georgetown-Penn game. The high-scoring lacrosse is what's best. But in a world where Princeton is expected to be back at championship weekend, I could understand taking the Tigers there. And UVA is a really good squad, so I get it. But let's put some value on the fact that Princeton hasn't played a game this year, and Richmond very much could have been a Final Four squad. So there's a lot of variation. I think I'm going to go a little bit up on the C-suite, and us, we're going to beat the bookie a little bit on there. But now it's time to get into our best bets. But it's back to the good stuff now, college basketball. The number 2 team in the land, Michigan, looks to continue to put the hurt on the rest of the Big Ten. So let me introduce you to UCLA. So many of the Bruins' early season matchups in conference were on the road, and while they have held their own, they've looked really sloppy at times. Now, some mistakes are normally fine, unless it's the number 1 defense according to KenPom. I really don't think UCLA stands a chance, So give me $5 on the Bruins to cover a 16.5-point spread. Over in the Hawkeye State, there's a top 10 matchup between Kansas and Iowa State Saturday. And while I'm all for the Cyclones are cooking, I'm going to go all in on the Kansas City barbecue Darren Peterson has been making. I get the concerns because he doesn't play a lot of games and people are threatening his character. But every time this season, when people have said Kansas hasn't been good enough, they punch back. And Darren Peterson has punched back. Oh, and by the way, even when he doesn't play, they can beat the #1 team in the country, Arizona. So say what you will about the Jayhawks, but a plus 200 value, that's great. So $10 of my money is going right on that one. Speaking of the Hawkeye State, I love Iowa as much as the next person, and they are undoubtedly a pretty good basketball squad. But for Purdue to only be favored by 1.5 after beating Iowa earlier this year by 7, and the Boilermakers are third in the country in offense, according to Ken Palm. Like our good friend Sam Reese said, it's the nerds who really get you lost in the sauce. I just don't think there's any way the nerds who have Purdue as the third best offense nationally are wrong. Give me $5 on the Boilermakers to cover the spread. From the #2 team to the #1 squad. Oh, that's right, Arizona is undefeated no more. Big thanks to that Kansas team I mentioned earlier. But Arizona has yet to play a ranked squad this season where the difference has been more than 10 points. So with the spread at 9.5, I'm leading Red Raiders. Now that comes with the stipulation that I'm also relatively down on Texas Tech, and I think they could be an early exit from March Madness. But I'm also a proponent of history repeating itself. So if it hasn't happened yet, it won't happen. Give me $10 on Tech to cover. Finally, to one of the more random picks, I would say, in BTB history, #12 Gonzaga at Santa Clara. Now, if you know Santa Clara as where the San Francisco 49ers play, or the college Jalen Williams on the Oklahoma City Thunder went, I wouldn't blame you. But the Broncos are actually ahead of Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference right now. A big reason why? Well, it's the same reason why Gonzaga is the 12th best team in the land. Run and gun offense. These squads like to move, and while their defense are still stellar, both squads are premier at picking up gritty wins. I think the offense of today's game will shine, while this conference clash will go well over 157.5 points. $5? Count it. So now it's time to talk about all of our locks of the week. Well, how about before I give you that, I give you my dog of the week. The Florida Gators have followed up a national championship season just about as well as anybody could, especially considering the lost pieces. So it's no surprise that they're atop the SEC. But do you know who is right behind them, breathing down their necks? Kentucky. While the Wildcats have had perfect games and not so perfect games, a ranked matchup will bring proper preparation for Mark Pope's squad. I also just don't like the Florida Gators, so this might be an emotional pick, but give me $5 on Kentucky's money line. Now it's time to actually get into our lock of the week, because that's some crazy odds at plus 525. But they're not so crazy when you look at #4 Duke and #20 Clemson. When it comes to the style of basketball that's played between the Blue Devils and the Tigers, it's almost like fraternal twins. A little bit different, but mostly the same. The two best defenses in the ACC clash, meaning there will be no defense in this game. There is no doubt in my mind that this one hits the over. $10, put it in the bag. But enough with what's going on this Saturday. How about we take a look into the future? Down the road, but off the hardwood. With pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training yesterday, I figure it's no better time than to talk about baseball. And this year, we have a World Baseball Classic to go through. While the United States are technically favorites, Captain America, Mike Trout, isn't on the team. I don't care if he's 65 and in a wheelchair. He should always be on the team. So I doubt the U.S. comes out on top. And then there's Japan, who's looking to win their 4th of 6 straight WBC titles. But I think the real name you should look out for is the Dominican Republic. With a squad that could essentially be an MLB All-Star team and a pitching staff of notable names, I'm putting $10 on the República Dominicana to get a WBC dub. When you look back through the other futures, though, that have happened so far, Griffin, he's already lost $10. That's no shock there. Thought the Rams were going to make the Super Bowl. The Seahawks have been the best team, and that's tough to say as a Patriots fan. Arnovs and Max, though, we got to wait a little bit longer. That McDavid leading goal scorer is not the craziest thing to say, but I doubt it happens. Arnovs, though, UCLA, Wubba Natty, that's going to be tough because UConn looks like the best team in the country, and I think they're minus 200 favorites at this point. But enough with this future talk. It's time to get into a little bit of parlay. It's NBA All-Star Weekend time. First, we'll start with the Shooting Stars Challenge. If you don't watch this, I honestly think you should. While it might not be the same as the Skills Challenge used to be, it's essentially which teams can make more shots from crazy spots in crunch time. Think the three-point contest, but with more spaces. Anyways, because it's all about shooting, how about I take the team that has one of the best shooters in the league, Cunningham, and Team Cameron, to get it done. Then to the three-point contest. Originally, I wanted to choose Dame Dalla, because you know what time it is. However, because Damian Lillard is coming off an Achilles injury and somehow got cleared to compete, I don't think he'll be ready to win his third three-point shooting contest. So I think it's going to be a good day for the rookie, Cunningham, because he's shooting 43% from deep on nearly 8 attempts a game, so he'll leave Inglewood with some nice hardware. Speaking of nice hardware, it's time for the All-Star Game itself. With the game seemingly having another format for like the 14th straight year, anything can happen. And I mean truly anything. However, one thing that everyone knows that is true is that Team World is miles ahead of any team the U.S. can put out there. 3 of Team World's biggest stars, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic, were all first-team All-NBA players a year ago. I think that's really all that needs to be said. Team World is getting it done. And this is your perfect start to NBA All-Star Weekend. Well, so now it's time to recap my picks. I think Penn State easily covers against Princeton, especially since they haven't played a game of lacrosse this season. I love what Richmond is doing and what they've been cooking down there in the Virginia. I think they get a dub over a big ACC opponent. On the flip side, Georgetown, Penn, this game, a statement for the Hoyas. Penn, they're going to put up a couple, but it's not going to be the greatest performance out there. Maybe a 17-7 game, going to go over that 21.5. Over into hoops, though, Michigan, they're just too good. This is a team I expect to be in the Final Four. I think 17 points against UCLA, that might not even be enough. They might put up a 20-30 burger on the Bruins. Then a top 10 matchup, Iowa, Kansas. I think the Jayhawks have enough to get it done, and I just love what Darren Peterson is doing. And then Purdue and Iowa, that's just disrespectful to Purdue. 1.5 points, that's just not enough. Continuing down the line, Arizona, they're good. They deserve to be the number 1 team. Texas Tech covers. 10 points, that's a lot. Gonzaga, Santa Clara, just give me offense, 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 offense. The more we've got, the better. That game, honestly, 100 to 100 between those two teams. Kentucky, get it done. Florida, they're terrible. They might be a first-round exit in March Madness. I really don't like them. But Kentucky, they're going to clear that one easy. And then Duke and Clemson. All they know how to do is score. The Dominican Republic, I think they might be the best team in baseball, period. And then down for our parlay, I think Team Cameron, Cunningham to win the three-point contest, and Team World, arguably the best players in the NBA, are playing on Team World. But that's enough for us here on Beat the Bookie. I know Matt Parry, he's not happy. We're starting to lose a little bit of that budget. Griffin Bloomstein's pockets are hurting. The credit card, it's got to get put down, and it keeps going into that red. He's not going to have enough for his Chipotle Bowl later today. Luckily enough, though, after this week, he'll get some extra spending money and be able to set him up as we go on. But for everybody here in our CitrusTV studios, Syracuse, you'll want to bet with me.